try to give it some movement. So if I were to take a look at the front of the clip and have the lines go in this direction like an isometric piece, doing the same with the triangular part. However, the height of it is going to also give you the angle of this piece. So when you take a look at it, that piece. Again, depending on where you place your item, I'm just going to scooch it over a little bit so that you have plenty of room for your design. It's almost like a triangular shape extended over. So when you block this out, everything is pretty well placed in there. Once it's set up, just look for things that kind of coincide or go along with that part. So this has two circular pieces, so I'm just going to create one right there, one right below it, and the elliptical shape just on the opposing side. And that's where this piece, so this metal turns and goes up this way. This one does the same thing on the opposite direction. So how this is engineered and designed. So you have two clamps. That might make this a little bit larger. And as it goes up, when metal sometimes is corrugated or bent, it gives it some strength. So this is going to curve down here. And it also has this thickness. So I'm exaggerating the thickness to it, rounding off this edge up here. That becomes that piece. Inside here you can see where the clip is cut open. So just kind of following the same elliptical shape around here and here, and that's where the metallic pulls. So if you find out, here it is going straight back, but it's actually tilted, so I just have to move it in just a little bit, and it extends beyond this part. And this line, all these are parallel just for starters, because I'm just going to exaggerate that. That's where it's going to stop and loop itself up here, so you give yourself a little bit of a turn here. Okay. Same thing down here, you don't see the extension, you just actually see the loop. So just kind of placing that in there. And pretty much have it pretty well blocked in. This curve just goes right through this side of it and wraps around to the next. So it gives you one on either side, and you kind of have it all done there, at least for the beginning. As far as for doing the clip itself, it's pretty easy. You just start off with a rectangular shape. Okay. And once you have that, it's going to be kind of the same thickness. I'm going to elevate it just a little bit right here. Extend this out a little. And do the same thing. Here it starts as a rectangular shape. It's got to have an elliptical shape fit right inside of there. And then now this becomes the part that loops around. Find the end point, at least just to get it started. So it travels down and around. And builds it up like that. And again, once you get it set up, it's pretty easy once it goes from that stage. And then it's just a matter of, again, darkening in. Now again, this one I'm going to use the straight edge just because it has the mechanical approach to it. So kind of drawing around the metallic segment to it and just shading it in. Again, this is based off of a cylinder, so it's just going to build itself up. And still kind of cascading. Well, I still have it here. I can even work in with this. Now keep in mind, when something is shaded, you can always put a tone right away. But here's the line to it. And just kind of moving the triangle up. Finding the outline to that. Kind of exaggerating the line here. Okay. And again, as this starts to wrap itself up, you can just help with the shading right with that line. skip a little bit for the base tone. Gives you a little highlight to it. It does the same on this one. And just kind of curve it around. So again, a relatively simple object, kind of made easy, kind of complicated at the same time. Use the same idea with the triangle on this part. Here's the edge for it. When it gets to the metal, just find that edge real quick. Again, just using the straight edge as a kind of a crutch to help me shade this makes it a lot easier. Just kind of put a little tension on it. And where it starts to show the shadow, place it in there. Find this edge here. You can kind of get the idea of how this is coming across. So here you can, with the shadow, since this is kind of a dark value, you can over-exaggerate the lines here. Kind of shade that in. So it starts to look pretty dimensional right away. The circular parts just kind of outline. If it was a line drawing, it would wrap itself around. I'm just going to give it a heavy outline to start off with. And that gives me that piece. And just kind of tone it in there. So you can kind of see it's pretty basic right as you get started, starting up from the initial drawing. I'll come up and do a little more accent black on